it's Quadex here. Before we start the video, like the video, subscribe if you're new. Check out Onboard like usual. He's one of my friends. Also unknown, I forgot his channel name right now, but both their links will be in the description. Check out my Instagram. Once that gets to 200 followers, I'll upload a 1 hour what if of this and what if Naruto wasn't dumb. So go do that and keep an eye on the community tab. Roll the intro. Hey, I'm doing a 6K special and it will be a Q&A. I'll leave a link to where you can comment your questions that I'll be answering when the video comes out. Please comment your questions. I would appreciate that. Roll the outro. 6 days passed and it was the day of the Chunin exams. Sasuke and Naruto had arrived at the academy and Naruto could tell. Sasuke was fired up like anything. The only one left to arrive was Sakura. They were simply waiting outside the gates when Sakura arrived, and there was something visibly different about her. She looked like usual, but her posture had a confidence that both of them hadn't seen before. Naruto looked into her eyes and smiled at what he saw. Resolve. Resolve to see this through, and she didn't look the least bit uncertain. "Good morning, Naruto, Sasuke," she greeted. Sasuke, for his part, hid his surprise just barely. Whenever she greeted him, she did like a fangirl. Now she looked like a determined Konoichi. "Good morning, Sakura," Naruto greeted with a nod. Sasuke just gave his customary grunt. "Let's stop wasting time in greetings and go," he ordered curtly, striding inside without even waiting for them. Sakura gave an amused look to Naruto, who just shrugged in a way that said, "What can you do?" They caught up to him and ascended the stairs silently and focused. The sound of a crowd caught their attention and they went to investigate. Upon arriving at the scene, they stared in surprise at the large crowd. What the hell is going on? Then Naruto sensed the Genjutsu over the whole corridor and narrowed his eyes. In front of them were two guards who looked suspiciously familiar. Naruto narrowed his eyes at them and it suddenly came to him, causing him to resist a facepalm. Who were Izumu and Kotetsu trying to fool with that obvious henge? Sasuke nudged Sakura. "This is only the second floor, isn't it?" Sakura looked at him in surprise. Sasuke never ever talked to her so actively. She looked at Naruto, who gave her a thumbs up. She turned to Sasuke and spoke confidently. "Yes, since we've only climbed 2 floors, this is obviously a Genjutsu." Sasuke then nodded to himself and started walking to the crowd, mostly to show off it by proclaiming that a Genjutsu of this caliber does not fool him. But a hand to his shoulder caused him to turn around and glared at Naruto, who was shaking his head. "The people over there still haven't noticed that they are still just on the 2nd floor, he said softly. "This is probably a test designed to weed out the weaklings, so let's just slip by nice and quiet," he suggested. Sasuke found that it was becoming quite frequent, him going off to do something, Naruto stopping him and giving a suggestion. Sasuke agreeing, albeit grudgingly, that the suggestion was better and following Naruto. Even now, Naruto's suggestion was strategically better. Reducing the competition made their chances of winning was higher. To be completely honest, Sasuke was jealous of Naruto. He was jealous of his strength, his skills, his natural charisma, the way that leadership seemed to fit with him like a glove, how it came to him so naturally. Obviously, his own desire to be at the top and be leader clashed with Naruto's. He could not stand to remain second best, especially to Naruto of all people. Clenching his fist in his pockets, he nodded and as one quietly slipped through the crowd and took the stairs to the 3rd floor. As they were heading to 301, a voice came from above them. "Hey, you, the one with the dark blue eyes, wait, please." They all turned and looked above to see a kid wearing a tight green jumpsuit and orange leg warmers. His black hair had a bowl cut style. He had amazingly thick eyebrows. He was looking at Sasuke. Naruto rose an eyebrow at seeing him. "What is Lee playing at?" Lee jumped down to their level, and it was only then he recognized Naruto. He gave off a blinding grin. "Naruto-kun, what a youthful surprise to see you here." Sakura and Sasuke gave Naruto mildly horrified looks. They didn't know that Naruto knew this weirdo. As for Naruto, he just took a page from Kakashi's book and gave a lazy wave in a lazy voice. Yo. It turned out to be the wrong thing to say, as Lee cried out while shaking a fist. "What hip and cool attitude! Your flames of youth seem to have diminished since the last time we met." Naruto shrugged and decided to intervene in case Lee takes off on a tangent. "So Lee, why'd you stop us?" Lee suddenly sobered and turned to Sasuke. "Sorry, I got distracted. My name is Rock Lee, and I wish to challenge this year's prodigy, Uchiha Sasuke, to a fight." Sasuke replied back coldly, "And why should I give you the time?" He gave a once over and found him lacking any sort of strength whatsoever. He, however, didn't like the way Lee called him a prodigy. A prodigy should stand out of the crowd, and the title felt cheap because Naruto was stronger than him. Lee smiled. "I am the strongest Konoha getting right now. A test for myself to see if you're as good as everyone else says you are." Sasuke smirked, causing Naruto to sigh in resignation. Just the mention of a fight was enough to get Sasuke's blood pumping. 10 minutes later, he found himself looking at a beat-up Sasuke and wondering if it was a mistake or did Sasuke deliberately underestimate Lee. Judging from appearance, Lee was nothing special, but apparently Sasuke had never heard the phrase, "Appearances can be deceiving." Lee had absolutely dominated the fight, even when Sasuke had activated his Sharingan. All through the fight, Sasuke had been trying to find Lee because he was unbelievably fast. Of course, Naruto easily followed Lee's movements because he himself had surpassed that speed with resistance seals activated at level 11 long ago. He closely observed that even when Sasuke had just begun to react fast enough, he was smashed by Lee's superior taijutsu skill and pure speed. Just when Lee was about to end the fight, it was ended by a talking turtle of all people. "Lee, that technique is forbidden," he yelled at him. Lee bowed his head in apology. "I'm sorry, I got carried away." The turtle glared at Lee, causing him to flinch. But I wasn't planning to use the reserve version." "Baka!" the turtle exclaimed, causing Lee to flinch again. "You think that excuse will work? You should know what it means for a shinobi to expose his moves." While the turtle was busy reprimanding Lee, Naruto glanced over to see if Sasuke was alright, but he wished he hadn't. Sasuke had a look of absolute loathing on his face as he glared at Lee and the turtle. I lost to that weirdo." He looked over to Sakura and saw that she was still shocked at the pure speed that Lee displayed. Looking over to Naruto, he resisted the urge to roar in rage. Naruto was looking bored, just as he was before the fight. There was not a single trace of alarm or fear that Sasuke could see, which meant only one thing. Naruto was certain, no, absolutely confident that he could take on Lee and win. Just how strong is he? He doesn't look alarmed in the least. That means he knows how he is stronger and faster than that weirdo. He knows he could counter Lee's every move, whereas I couldn't even follow that guy. Is Naruto even in the same league as the rest of the Genin? How can I, with the Sharingan, still not match up to him? Were the thoughts rushing through his head. He hated being weaker than anyone. He turned his attention back to the turtle, who said, "Guy Sensei will take care of your punishment." An explosion of smoke erupted on the turtle's back, and when it cleared, an adult version of Rock Lee was standing on a ridiculous pose. Jeez, you guys are the epitome. You guys are the epitome of the springtime of youth. To say Team 7 was freaked out was an understatement. They were shell-shocked at his appearance. Even Naruto was looking a bit alarmed, with Kurama screaming in his mind to make it stop. If Lee were just a few years older, no one would be able to tell the difference between him and Guy. "Lee, you fool!" Guy shouted at him, punching him in the jaw so hard that Lee flew back. Lee quickly recovered though. Guy then proclaimed, "For breaking the rule and fighting before the exam, you must complete 500 laps around Konoha before sundown." The whole Team 7 gaped at the absurdity of the challenge, believing it to be nothing more than a joke. However, they were further shocked into disbelief at Lee's reply. "Yes, Guy Sensei." Lee's eyes were burning at the challenge, probably at how much youthful it was, Naruto mused. Naruto decided to intervene before even more weirdness took place. Excuse me, but don't you think that you should focus on the Chunin exams right now? Guy Sensei turned to them for the first time, looking a bit sheepish. Oh, my bad. Turning to Lee, he coughed in his hands and said, Lee, you will fulfill your punishment after the Chunin exams. Got it? Lee stood at attention. Yes, Guy Sensei. Guy then turned to the other team. Oh, so you guys are from Kakashi's team. Sasuke rose an eyebrow condescendingly. You know Kakashi? Guy chuckled as he rubbed his shin. Kakashi and I are eternal rivals. I am leading currently with my 50 wins to Kakashi's 49. The whole team's 7 sweat dropped at that. Lee jumped in. Isn't Guy Sensei the greatest? Sasuke was studying Guy intensely, looking at the empty space. Wait, what? He and Sakura suddenly turned around to face Guy, who had gotten behind them so fast that not even a blur was visible. But Naruto showed no signs of surprise, having followed him with his eyes. Guy had only used low Jonin levels of speed right now. He knew that Guy had barely put effort in getting that fast to get behind them. While he could do it as well if he took his seals off for now, he would be destroyed in a contest of speed if Guy went full speed. There was only so much speed his 12-year-old body could go at before reaching a limit. Sasuke was looking at Guy with a wide eyes along with Sakura. This guy, he's definitely faster than Kakashi, he thought with a grimace. Rage filled him once more. Damn it, how many people are there that I have to surpass to become capable of defeating him? Anyways, you guys should head to the room. Your exam is to begin soon. Good luck. Turning to Lee, he flashed a grin and thumbs up. Do your best, Lee. Bask in the springtime of youth. He disappeared after that. Lee began to wrap his bandages up, but just before he left, he turned to Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, I apologize for lying before. I am not the strongest Konoha Genin. It is my teammate. I entered the exam to defeat him, and you're one of my targets as well. Please prepare yourself, and I wish you all the best. After Lee finally walked away, Naruto carefully observed Sasuke. His fists were clenched tight, along with gritted teeth and look of frustration and rage on his face. Naruto clenched his own fist and rage in his mind. Who does he think he is? Why does he keep thinking that he's the only one who is strong and rest are weak? He kept his face carefully neutral as he faced Sasuke. What's wrong, Sasuke? He was careful to keep his voice level. He didn't even flinch when Sasuke faced him, a look of barely contained rage on his face. Shut up! I'll slaughter him next time, he promised. Naruto only raised an eyebrow. We're in the middle of an exam, which means there is little time. Sorry, no time for you to get better than him. Maybe after the exams, but not now. And why were you so angry and frustrated before? It is so hard to accept that there are people of our age who are stronger and faster than you. Sasuke opened his mouth to tell Naruto to mind his own business, but nothing came out. He realized with a growl that what Naruto had said was true. He was brought up with the teachings from his father that the Uchiha are the greatest, and he learned it all with pride. So it was hard for him to accept, for his pride to accept that there is someone who is stronger, faster than him. Ever since the massacre, he trained his hardest every day, trying to bridge the power gap between him and him, just so he could have his revenge. He thought that he had at least become stronger than his peers, only to find how thoroughly outclassed he was amongst those of his own age. Naruto shook his head. One day, Sasuke's superiority complex is gonna blow up in his face. Sasuke was too proud of himself, believing his power was better than others, and no one could match him. But pride always had its downfall, and it didn't look like Sasuke's gonna learn that lesson anytime soon. Anyway, we should get going. We don't want to be late for the exam, Naruto said as he took the lead, with Sakura following him after giving a concerned glance to Sasuke, who followed at last. They reached the room, only to see Kakashi leaning against the wall with his head buried in his book. Kakashi looked at them and closed the book, putting his hand in his pockets. He gave them a critical look. Sakura decided to come as well. I see. Sakura decided to come as well, I see. Naruto frowned at his statements. What do you mean by that? His voice held a hard edge, warning Kakashi that he better not play with the answer right now. Kakashi for his part didn't take offense at Naruto's tone at all. Instead, he mentally approved of how Naruto spoke. It was clear that he was in the zone, ready to tackle a challenge. He had taken on a mindset of a serious shinobi now, mentally prepared for the challenge to come. He was also surprised at the lack of uncertainty in Sakura, which he had seen on the day he had given out the tuning forms. Something had happened in between, but whatever it was, he was glad for it. A mild feeling of disappointment went through him when he saw Sasuke's state. There was light bruises on his face, and he looked like someone who had just trampled on his ego. He mentally shook his head. Sasuke was too impulsive when it came to his pride and ego. He could never take any defeat in stride. For all his skills, Sasuke's mix of having both a superiority and I don't know why I can't inferiority complex made him, in Kakashi's words, a sore loser. He shook those thoughts off and focused on answering Naruto. You are now officially registered to take the exam. To tell the truth, tuning exams can only be taken in teams of 3. So you lied that it is up to us whether we want to take part in it or not? Naruto said, eyes narrowing. Kakashi nodded seriously. I did. I feared that if I didn't, you two would have forced Sakura to take the exams with you. And if only they both had come here and not you, Sakura, I would have turned them away. He smiled. But I'm glad that you three came of your own free will and as a team. Sakura, unnoticed by Kakashi, gave a small glance to Naruto and smiled. It's all thanks to you, Naruto. You washed away my uncertainty. Kakashi moved out of their way. Go in, then. Do your best. They opened the door and were surprised to see the number of taking the tuning exams, and all of them were looking at them. Naruto put on his game face, which was a natural scowl. He was internally scoffing at the pathetic amount of killing coming their way. He looked back to see that Sakura was unaffected as well. Sakura too, if not for the slight bead of sweat on the side of her face, he turned back, absently wondering if he would see any of his peers. Sasuke-kun! Naruto flinched and then sighed. Kami, he hated that voice. He turned around just in time to see a blonde missile. Ino hugged Sasuke tightly from behind. It's been so long since I've seen you. Sasuke-kun, I miss your dark looks, you know? Sakura spoke in a surprisingly normal tone, but serious nonetheless. Let Sasuke-kun go, Ino pig. Ino glanced at Sakura, mocking her. I'm surprised that they let you come here, forehead. Sakura gained a tick mark, her voice getting a bit higher. You live my forehead out of this. Ino just stuck her tongue out at Sakura. Naruto just rolled his eyes at the immature displays. Oh, you guys are competing in this stupid test too. Shikamaru's voice came as he approached with Choji. Naruto smirked and lightly commented, I didn't think you had the energy to take this exam, Shika. The said boy sighed. It's too troublesome, but Ino threatened us with our lives, so we had to. Finally found you guys. Naruto saw that it was Kiba's voice, who was coming with Team 8 in tow. Hinata blushed at the sight of Naruto. Well, it looks like all the rookies are assembled. Shikamaru sighed. Geez, you guys too? Kiba hummed. I wonder how far we'll get now that all of us are assembled. Eh, Sasuke? Sasuke smirked in return. You seem confident, Kiba. Kiba boasted. We trained a lot. We won't be losing to you. You guys should be quieter, you know? Come a new voice from behind them. They all turned to see a bespectacled teenager with gray hair in a ponytail. He looked almost 17 and was wearing a Konoha headband. You guys are rookies just out of the academy, right? You shouldn't be fooling around like that, he said. Ino took offense to that. Who the heck do you think you are? I'm Yakushu Kabuto, and just take a look around you, he gently said, not seeming to mind her tone at all. All the rookies except for Naruto and Sasuke tensed up after looking around. They were the focal point of all the attention, and it was not the good kind. The team behind you is from Amagakure no Sato. They have short tempers, he explained. Naruto decided that he had enough of people trying to intimidate him and his teammates, so he turned the table. He didn't exclude any killing intent, but simply glared with his eyes. He was very much satisfied to see many of them flinch, and why shouldn't they? He had his father's eyes, and his father sent enemies running in the opposite direction with just a look. These Genins stood no chance. Kabuto-san, was it? Sakura's voice caused him to turn. Yes? Is this your second time taking these exams? No, actually it's my 7th. Kabuto admitted, sheepishly rubbing the back of his head. Whoa, you must really suck then. Kiba's brashness surprised no one. Kabuto shrugged, conceding the point. Or maybe the exams are just that hard. To help out, I thought I would share some info on the other participants with my fellow Konoha-nin. He withdrew a thick deck of cards from his weapons pouch. Who do you want to know about? Give me information on Sabaka Nogara, Rock Lee, and Uzumaki Naruto, Sasuke commanded, desperate for some information on his teammate and the others. The rookie gave him weird looks, but Naruto glared at Sasuke, who glared back. Finally, I get to see just how powerful you really are, Naruto. Kabuto smirked. You already know their names, which makes it less fun. Looking at his cards, he began reading. Sabuka Nogara. His team was completed 8 C ranks, and wow, a B rank. It says he came back from each of them without a scratch. Getting doing a B rank is highly unusual, but coming back from one without any injury is just unheard of. This caused all of them to tense up, even Naruto. Next is Rock Lee. Konoha Genin with a tremendous skill in taijutsu. His skill in ninjutsu and genjutsu are nil. He is a member of Team 9 led by Maito Gai as his sensei. His teammates are Hyuga Neji and Higurashi Tenten. He has completed 42 D ranks and 37 C ranks. He has been a Genin for a year more than you guys. Next is Uzumaki Naruto. He said, pulling another card, though he blinked in surprise when it suddenly disappeared from his hands. Looking up, he saw Naruto holding a card between 2 fingers. Okay guys, that's where I'm gonna end it. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next part. Bye.
Wanted a bitch who was on the move, but you on a goddamn late. Got that one in my bed and she just wanna sleep. Fucking up all of the sheets. She only wake up to eat. Do this shit every week. Like why you do that? Crying you wanna be great, but sleeping until the next day. Why you do that? Got that much in the bank. We go out, she